Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vigor Wars 2 and a 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose, continuing to conquest yourselves and conquest things around you in God's name. Welcome back, guys. I apologize for the last couple of days. Been really busy. A couple of family weddings coming up and really kind of crazy around here. So hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna try to do as many as I can over the next few weeks, but it may be not as many as I'm used to. But you guys please sending the ideas in. Great ideas, great shout outs. I didn't get a chance to any shout outs, so we're just gonna go ahead with our topic. But I'll kind of go back and look at that and see if we can kind of catch up a little bit in the next couple of weeks or so. All right, so now we did get one. I did want to mention something. We did get something, and so because I have a lot of other people that I'm working with on some of this stuff, they will get emails that are associated with my the channel, and so. I want to shoot a shout out to Eddie out there. Eddie, I will get back to you. I just received, someone sent me that the emails you're sending to me. So I will contact you at some point and hopefully get together. I don't do really counseling right now, only because I'm not totally sure that I'm that much of an expert. I'm just kind of giving my opinion. So I'm not sure I want to kind of steer the wrong way in some of this stuff. I mean, we've been talking about this a long time. I'm happy to mentor people and tell people about my situation. But please send me questions if you guys do that, obviously through the channel, and I'm happy to kind of help you with that. I do get people who I'm working with. They get emails and they send them to me for people who are contacting me as well. I'm not at that point yet, so hopefully, maybe I will be at some point. But I'm kind of caught up in a lot of other things right now. So I'm happy to answer questions and help you, even contact you through through the channel, things like that. But right now, that's kind of the extent of it because I'm not really putting the kind of time yet into this. I probably will be in the future, but I want to kind of try to help people as much as I can. So I figured I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. But people like Eddie, please keep contacting me. Let me know and if I can help you, and I'm happy to do that as we go along. All right, so the topic we have here at the 30 second mark here comes from, actually I received one today as well from Per Allen and from IIIFrencyIII. And this actually goes back to Eddie, who contacted me, one of our reviewers, through another email. And it all kind of comes back down to relationships you have with women. Now, the topic of this one is going to be talking with women can be enjoyable during semen retention. Now, why do we say that? Let's kind of go back and talk about this a little bit. So, when we're talking about the idea of retention, again, let's think in terms of what our goal is, purpose of. We're trying to become the most masculine human beings that we can become as males. There's far too many males out there, because of various reasons we've talked about before, that are very feminine, too feminine. They're not strong enough. They're not strong enough to protect our country. It's not strong enough to provide for families and for towns and protect and all the things that males do. I think a lot of people realizing that males and females are different in the way their roles are in our society. And though people sometimes try to be both, and they want to be both, they cannot do that. And this is why you see a lot of behaviors with relationships that are not males and females, and they don't work. They don't work mainly because unless a person takes one of the masculine roles, and it's very hard for that person to do that, especially if they're not a male, it's hard for them to take that role. So we want to be true, really I call it true, masculine males, to kind of talk about why is it that we can become this way? Why is it can we commit it? And the reason we can become this way is because we're holding something in and using it to build ourselves up to be the strongest person we can become. We can try to be, like our Creator, our God, Jesus Christ. In my case, you have other people out there have other people that they're actually kind of looking at as their Creator. I'm not going to judge you on that either way, but I'm going to kind of say that your Creator is the person that you're really connecting to. That's the main person you're connecting to. And because of that, then, you're using those things within you to become the best version the best male you can become. And females as well. I'm not going to exclude females, obviously, but 99% of our viewers are males, so that's kind of why I talk to males. But females, you have the same types of things. Holding in your energy and not just using it for reasons like, just a pleasure, things like that, are making you stronger within your creator. And it's connecting you more to your creator as you go along. So as your creator then has purposes and goals, you tend to rise above that. So when Per Allen's asking me, how can we do this? How can we not think about lust in women? We don't, as time goes on, the longer your streak is, and this is my experiences, the less you look at women as sexual objects. And I think this is key. Because it's a habit-forming thing no matter what it is. Yes, we do have a biological instinct, and it's a lot stronger when you're younger than at my age, when I'm 63, it's not as strong. But I also would say that men, as they get older, learn how to control and transmute better. And so some of the younger guys who are struggling with this may feel like you never can overcome this. You will learn how to transmute it. By nature, just the way. But if you start learning how to try to do it on, directly on purpose, you're going to get there a lot faster. And it took me many, many years to get to that point where I can transmute it better, which is why I kind of feel and, act and look the way I do, because I've been able to finally do it, but it's taken me a long time to have any level of success with it. I'm 63 years old. But the thing is that the longer you can kind of keep your energy and transmute it, not let it just sit there, because letting it sit there and do nothing is just as bad as not, letting it go. But what you really want to do is transmute it and have goals. Now, in the case of, my friend Eddie, you understand that, of course. You understand you have goals. Now, how does this affect the girls and the women that you're dealing with? Well, they will become attracted to you when you're not desperate after them. Let me kind of say that again. Women will become attracted to you because the energy you have is focusing on other things besides women. And women, very different approach women have. Women have an approach of nurturing. They have to feel sociable. They have to look at communicate relationships. And they look for validation, and they look for all these things. They need the nurturing from each other and from men. So women need a lot of validation, a lot of approval, and a lot of recognition. If you don't get that, you'll see how women react. And I know lots of guys out there, they kind of know that, and sometimes they don't use that, very ethically either. That's probably another videotape we can talk about. But the idea really is that you have this energy that women can look at and say, okay, this person's on their goals, they're on their purpose. And so as we talk about Per Allen, if you focus on your goals and your mind, which cannot think about two things simultaneously at the same direct time, you're going to block out those lustful feelings of women if you're focusing on your goals. Now, as a result of that, then they become like normal human beings. And if you look and forcibly change your attitude and say, okay, all women are going to be look like my sister, my mother, my, daughter, well, then you're not going to look at them, or you shouldn't obviously look at them, as lustful types of things, because they're not that way. And this is a very interesting thing that the mind does play. Think about this in terms of your own relatives, your own mother, your own daughter, right? Why is it? I mean, they're a woman, they're a man if you're a woman, right? But they're relatives. So how can you change that viewpoint? How come you're not lusting after them? And of course, we know that's a terrible thing to do. But we do that because in our back of mind, we know this is only our daughter. So mentally, we're playing a game with ourselves to lust because it's just our relatives, That's not something we're interested in. And that's where the difference is in the mind. And so you can play your mind and say, okay, I can use the same technique I use for my sister and my daughter and my mother to all women, no matter who they are, right? And for instance, if you're thinking about looking at someone, you can just say to yourself, okay, reminds me of my daughter, and so I'm not interested, right? Now, of course, if it's somebody who you're interested in and you want to have kids with, that's a different approach you're taking. But that's something that's going to take some time, obviously, and you look at. So back to some of the comments from like Frenchy 3 and Per Allen and my friend Eddie. When you look at this, you have to realize that women, if you have a normal conversation like you do with men, they can be very, very, very enjoyable, very positive, and you can get a lot out of the conversation. But what happens with a lot of men is that because of the instinct and the biological instinct that takes over, they don't have any mechanism to be able to block this out. And so the women they see in front of them, if they're not thinking in terms of sticks and bones, they're not thinking in terms of relatives, then they become lustful, and all they're doing is looking at this person as an object that they can't wait to touch or hug or whatever, right? And so as a result of that, they're not really having a normal conversation. They may say a few things back and forth, but the woman then realizes this. They instinctively know this. Now, why is this? Well, you can go take this all the way back to the cave people, way back in the beginning of time, okay? So the cave people, obviously, they had a lot of issues going on, whether it was dinosaurs or diseases of things around them, things they had no idea about. So if you have a caveman, a cave woman to get together, they're wanting to have children, they're going to go ahead and find somewhere that they can protect the children away from the animals, the coyotes, other things that might be around, plus all the dinosaurs running around. So when you look at this, the female's basic nature is survival. Down deep, they need to survive. They're not going to be as strong as men physically, so they could be taken over by men anytime men want to, so they have to use other methods to ensure survival. So they use a lot of things, different types of communication, different types of way they look at things, and nurturing. They're trying to soothe the savage beast, which goes back to that, Beauty and the Beast type of scenario, where females are looking at men as, I'm going to change them. This is why they go after the bad boys, and they want to change a male, while the male is a beast. And this is what attracts the female. But then the female wants to change the male. And if they do, they don't want the male anymore. So this is a very paradoxical types of situation we have between men and women. So it's always kind of a balance that the male has to continue being that beast to protect, to provide, to be someone that's feared in a good way, and someone who has respect in a good way. But in the long run, they also have to be someone that this female can relate to, and the female can try to nurture. Now, when we look at this then, so you go back to the caveman again, that caveman went out and they went ahead and, they searched for food, they did all kind of stuff. They would come back and they would try to protect the female and whatever kids they may have. The female has to be on the guard all the time, watching the children. Same thing with other species, the birds with the nest, and all kinds of lions with the cubs and all kinds of stuff. It's the same type of principle no matter what you're talking about. So as a result of this all, you're talking about then the male having to have the feelings of protection, all those type of things, and that's what they're going to help the female with to be able to kind of move society. So we've had this for thousands of years. Now, the female, because of all the movements over the last 50, 60 years, have suddenly decided that, with the communication and methods, that they don't really need the males in some ways. Now, I think that's going to change back, and you're starting to see some of that now. But the female is looking at things in a way where they think the male's been holding them down. They think that the males are worthless. There's nothing the males bring to anything. They could do anything the males can do. And in reality, we can all do things each other does. Males can do things females do. Females can do male things. But because we need each other more than that, for lots of other things. Support. We need each other to provide and protect from the male standpoint. Females need to nurture, need to bring up families and all that kind of stuff we talk about. You're seeing more traditional women going back to thinking in terms of that's what I want. And lots of women don't want to work. This wasn't the plan they had. They're working, they're making money, they can own a house, but they're by themselves. And so what is the whole purpose of that in their scope of minds? That's why you get a lot of frustrated women in the 30s and 40s, because they're not going to find, they think that having a career and all these things are going to attract men, but they've been given us a bill of goods. This is not what's going to attract. Men don't care about that at all. Men want a feminine woman, most men. And so if men continue being masculine, they're going to want that feminine energy to balance them out. That's a key type of thing here. So women can be very enjoyable when you're having the masculine energy with the feminine energy. And this happens when you look at a male being strong, but a male then is going off on their own and going out and gathering the food like the cavemen did, or gathering the money, bringing it home, buying things. And the male then is doing that, and the female then is taking care of the house. Female is taking care of the family, helping with the family, and the male and the female are working together to have a wonderful family, and so on and so on. But what ends up happening is the females, if they feel like they lose respect for the males, and there's lots of ways they do that. Many of the males, if they become very simpish and they're not very strong and they're always pleasing the woman gets really bored and tired of that, no matter who it is, and they may look for solace somewhere else. And all of a sudden now you have relationship problems. So males, we need to be that strong male and take command and charge of the situation, right? It's interesting to me, I saw something, one of my favorite guys, Replicant Fish, has put one out there about spanking. And back in the 1920s and 30s, Hollywood had a bunch of stuff on there with men spanking women. That's unheard of now. But back in those days, that's those type accepted type of things when the male took charge and the man was the man, right? Now we need to get back to that philosophy. And I know the Me Too movement, all those type of things are around, and I'm not obviously, at all saying that we need to, act in a way where, it's not appropriate and those type of things and abusive and like that. And of course not. That's not the way you should be. I mean, you should not take advantage of your strength as a male. But on the other hand, you need to be firm in what you're doing, self-control, be able to be strong, and lead the people in your family. This is more than just a wife type of thing. This is a family type of thing, whether it's your kids, son, daughter, whatever it might be. You are the family. You're a man of the family. You're a leader of the family, the head of the household, okay? Which is what the biblical and all the religious readings can tell you. You're the head of the household. There's a reason, because you have all this energy, all this stuff that's God given you to make you this strong person to be able to survive, protect, and do all the things that the caveman did, but in a more evolutionary way. And so it's the same principle we've always had. We may be fighting dinosaurs of our own kind now with its technology, whatever it might be, but we're fighting the same battle. The same battle is, can you have your kids go to a higher level than you did by protecting your town, your family, your country, all those type of things? Because in the long run, the money in those things are only as good as helping your kids become better so they can have kids and they can go onward and onward, and you have that principle of protection and providing so they can do all that. And so women are very enjoyable. I love women. There's great things about women. But to answer Per Allen's question, the way you look at women is you look at them as your sister, your daughter, your mother, and you have a conversation with them like you do with them. When you talk to your mother, You don't have any kind of lustful thoughts. You're just talking to your mother because you're your mother. When you're talking to your daughter, you're doing the same thing, right? So if you talk to all women like that, all of a sudden your lust is not there. Now, the result of that is going to be women are going to be highly attracted to you because they don't understand why you don't have those lustful thoughts. Because many women, they have lustful people after them all day long. Whether it's the DMs, whether they're talking to them in different ways, they have them all over the place, especially if they're in their 20s. Now, what happens when they get older, they don't have as many, and so now they're looking more for the steady type relationship, and they're surprised when they can't find a lot of them. A lot of those men in their 30s are looking for women in their 20s because they can have children and things like that. And it's a hard reality for women to realize a lot of it's about, whether they can have children. And when they're in the 30s, 35, it's very difficult. So men are going that way, and the MGTOW movement is a good example of men really being very choosy. And this drizzle movement is also something that's very interesting because once again, men are now kind of showing women this is how they've been acting, in a very kind of, elite, way where they feel like they're much better than men. And now they're kind of getting the recompense back to, men are treating them the same way. And now all of a sudden men are walking away and women realize that they're going to be lonely and without cats, they're going to have cats. And now they realize they made a huge mistake. And I can see it all the time. You see this all the time. They're talking about how feminism, ruined them and this kind of stuff. I see more and more stuff on this. So this is something that you have to kind of think about. From a man's perspective, you have to go back and say, all right, I need to kind of get myself going on what I'm doing and not just sit around. Not sit around just playing video games unless you want to be entertained for a while, yes. But you're going to basically go ahead and have goals. Those goals will get you away from thinking about women. And again, if you do this as a habit for days after days, you're going to not even think about women. So I know it's tough, Pierre Allen, to think that you're not going to think of women because you're caught in that cycle right now. But the more you get out of that cycle, the better off you're going to be. And you're not going to be thinking about these women anymore. And that's a key type element when we kind of look at trying to overcome these temptations. You cannot be thinking about women in those terms. Now, obviously, when it's older, like my case is 63 years old, it becomes a lot easier because you learn how to transmute. But the younger guys, it was very difficult. It took me 47 years to actually do this, which is one of the reasons I'm doing a lot of these videos, to give you guys an opportunity to kind of say, okay, here's a guy who failed for 47 years. This is something you should not be doing. You should try to succeed early, build a habit early on, and continue to work at that and fight that temptation. In the meantime, setting yourself up. Remember, men become better as they get older. They can become wiser, they become better in making money, they become better in decision making because they experience this. And men are judged more on potential and all those things they have. Women, it's all about the looks, especially when they're younger. But the looks go, and if they don't have anything after that, then they struggle. And so men have to realize they're looking for something, especially if you're looking for that one person, look for the person that is somebody that's going to be. Now, it's also going to be something that you cannot focus on. So part of the problem, and I go back to Pierre Allen and Eddie talking about this, if you are giving the signal out that you are kind of desperate, and I mean desperate, by the way, is that you're always pushing and you're always, upset and the woman's not reacting the way you want, she's going to sense that. And for whatever reason, may back off even further and may even ghost you at some point because you're lean. You really want a woman who shows interest to you, and that takes some patience. But again, if you're focusing on your goals and you're doing the other thing, you're not even thinking about it. And all of a sudden, one day, a woman will give you some signs and signals that she's interested. And if you're interested in that one, then that's the way to start talking relationship. But again, conversation is really enjoyable. Communication is really enjoyable with women. Women have a lot of great things to offer. Very intelligent, a lot of women are. But don't look at them in a lustful way. It's going to hurt you and then hurt that relationship because you want a woman to chase you. You want the woman to be able to know you, because then you know for sure, because through something called cognitive dissonance, this woman is not, if they like you, they'll do anything for you. It's funny, I saw something the other day where a woman was being asked about how much they want for a diamond, for a wedding ring. And some of these women said $1 million, all this kind of numbers. And one woman said, if I love him, I don't care if he gives me like a Cracker Jack ring, or whatever it might be, right? Some kind of cheap ring. Because she doesn't care. She has made a choice in her mind that you are the one. And so that makes it easy for you. And you can just continue focusing then on that relationship because she has made the choice. If she does not like you that way, and you're the one who's being the aggressive one, like we've been taught in the society, the prince and princess type of thing, then all of a sudden you lose that ability to influence, because now you appear desperate. And the woman knows that, and that's why they're pushing away. So to my friends out there, Frenchie, Per Allen, Eddie, the key thing here is not to show, whether you like the girl or not, from attractiveness level, allow the woman to make the first move. And if she really wants to, she will. She'll find a way to be with you because she really likes being with you. And you can tell that. And as time goes on, if she's making that move, she's going to show it to you many ways. Now, she may not come out, though modern women may come out and tell you even now, but they may not always tell you. But you have to understand and be able to see. But if you're focusing on women as women, just regular people, you're not going to have trouble. All right, so thank you, Frenchie, for the comment. Also, thank you, Per Allen, Eddie, for your comments. And like I said, I'm happy to help any way I can. I'm not doing mentoring at this moment or counseling, but I'm happy to kind of think about that in the future. If that's something that a lot of you guys want me to start doing, we can start looking at that. But for the time being, I'm going to keep doing videos and keep giving you ideas and kind of give you my perspective. All right, my friends, it is evening here. Let me go ahead and kind of say two things before I let you go. One, every day is a new day to a great warrior. And number two, remember to always battle on! Have a great night, my friends. God bless you guys.